Welcome to the Australian Property Investment Podcast with your host, Aaron Christie David. Each episode, we ask an expert to share their key insights for aspiring investors to make confident property choices.
G'day everyone, my name's Aaron Christie David. I'm your host for the Australian Property Investment Podcast. I run a mortgage broking business called Atelier Wealth, and we serve property investors that are looking to start up and scale out their property portfolios. And as part of their journey, we want to help our clients make better property decisions. And to enable that, we bring in experts, so people that are top tier investment experts that live and breathe property investing, either personally and or professionally as well. And today in the studio, I'm joined by Josh Desmond. G'day, Josh.
G'day, Aaron. How are you, mate?
Mate, I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Mate, living the dream as per usual.
Mate, that's the way. I expect nothing less from you. Josh, you run Advantage Plus Property, which is a buyer's agency, but I guess your journey and what I call the new breed of buyer's agency is, hey, I've lived and breathed the journey of buying and building a property investment portfolio. And now you're at a stage where your portfolio has gotten you to where you want to, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's time with your family, for example, probably both as well. And using that knowledge and using, I guess, your experience, now be able to pass the baton on to newer investors as well that may be a time poor or a knowledge poor as well. Mate, what I want to do is kind of get that knowledge out of your head as much as possible and your experience as well and kind of your journey. But mate, before we do that, we'll just touch on what I call the 3 Ps. So personal, professional and property. What's been your journey? And I know that you're kind of blessed with 3 kids, so you probably got your hands full on that front as well.
Yeah, so that's true. Husband, father of 3.
Yeah.
Natural sports lover.
Yeah.
All things outdoors. Travel, camping, fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very active, out there person. Sitting around, I go a little bit stir crazy and I just don't enjoy it. So, yeah, look, the kids, they have their challenges, but yeah, it's a lot of joy in your life. And for everyone who's got kids, they certainly know what the experience is like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great. And then I guess your journey from a property perspective, because I know you kind of bought, so when I got in touch with you originally, you bought fairly early, fairly young from what a lot of people would consider. And from then on, you've gone to build your own portfolio. So you want to take us in a nutshell, like your journey has been?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we did start pretty young, 19 years of age, just before our 20th birthdays.
Yeah. While everyone else is buying, their first car, they going the overseas holidays, you've zigged and other people have zagged. And
yeah, look, yeah, I done a fair bit of that too. I enjoyed life. Certainly won't say I didn't, but yeah, I guess me and my now wife were looking to move out of home. Neither of us wanted to pay rent. So we bit the bullet and we brought a property together. Fortunately, things worked out for us, and we're now husband and wife. But as for the property, it sort of worked out pretty well.
Excellent.
That was in 2009. Yeah. Sort of progressed from there into about 2013. As you said, we'd finished travel. We'd done 4 months in Europe, went to America, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And we were home starting to think about the rest of our lives, and we decided we didn't want to be in town, that a bit more space and living on an acreage was probably the right thing for us. Yeah. So we started looking around and found a 40-acre lot. Wow. Empty canvas. So
when you say live on an acreage, I thought maybe 1 or 2 perhaps, and then you've gone to 40. So that's a decent step up.
Yeah, look, and I was personally interested in 1 to 2 acres. Big acreage sounded like work to me, and now I've got it. Look, I wish I had 4,000 acres.
Yeah,
but
right.
Look, dreams. I'll keep on pursuing that, but story for another day. So yeah, I guess once we secured that land, still being quite young on pretty average wages, I guess, still at this time. We had to sell our first property to build and finance the build of the dream home, I guess you'd call it. So we did that. We rented for 6 months, lived with the in-laws for 6 months to facilitate that. 12 months later, I guess, we'd had our first child. 12 months later again, as the wife was looking to transition back into the workplace, I guess it all hit us that we wanted to be home and spend more time with our kids and raise our own kids and not have them in daycare, etc. Yeah. So, I guess we explored the options for producing a passive income and generating some cash flow. We did know the local market pretty well, and the local market, the Hunter Valley, New South Wales, does lend itself to positive cash flow. Yeah. So, 2017, we purchased our first. That was about 6.7% yield on that one. So,
right. Really tidy.
It was good, but done pretty well. After 12 months of earning an income for doing absolutely nothing, we thought, how good's this? Let's do it again. So we brought another one 12 months later. This time we were grossing a yield over 14%.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we got lucky and furnished this one. Targeted, I guess, a more of a short stay market, but we landed 2 really good clients that took us through 2 years of complete fulfillment. We never missed a week, so
incredible.
Worked out really well for us. And then 2020 was our latest purchase. So this time we're in a slightly better position. We had a little bit more cash flow from the previous 2 positions and just progression through our careers, I guess.
Yeah.
So we targeted a growth property in Brisbane. But even then, that one was 5.4% yield and positive cash flow as well. So the snowball just kept on building, kept on rolling.
Yeah, great. So, I mean, you mentioned the yields there, for example. So the yields kind of come to you like that. Was yield more important than growth from your journey at the moment? Take me through that because it sounded like it was.
Yeah, in the first 2. So I guess our investment journey has been built out of personal and family goals, probably more so than financial goals.
Right.
So as stated, we were triggered to invest, and the initiation phase was children. So we wanted to subsidise a loss in income or earnings to raise our own kids. So the first 2 properties were definitely yield orientated, so that there was no pressure on the family, that we could stay at home with the kids and we didn't have to be at work working long hours, this, that, and the other. So it's probably not the most traditional method, but it was the route that was right for us, I think, and it really made us commit to it because they were our goals.
No, I love that. When you've designed it, you've almost reverse engineered how you wanted it to be, isn't it? You've gone, well, replace income, shoot for yield. Properties have done very well. They've piggybacked each other to go and build up. It sounds like 3 properties.
Yeah, so 3 investments and an owner occupied at the minute.
Fantastic.
We did get quite fortunate with our 40-acre property. Has continued to grow well and has provided the foundation to continue getting into those next properties with the deposits.
Yeah,
and the strong cash flow from the first and second investment property has picked up a bit of the slack in the serviceability. So it's all sort of come together quite well for us.
I love when I hear young people get into the market. I've had a couple of 18-year-old, 19-year-old clients. I'm like, love it, because they're hungry. They want to get into the market. Sometimes they don't have the means to get into the market because you're just starting out your work stage. So you're probably earning the least you will ever earn in your lifetime perhaps as well. So someone listening going, well, hang on, how would you get into the market at such a young age? Looking back on your journey, what were the options that you guys had when you were starting out?
Yeah, well, I guess the option was to move out of home and rent, and I guess a lot of people facilitate that as dead money. We're fortunate in the fact that we didn't live in a Sydney or a Melbourne, and the property prices weren't that crazy.
Yeah, okay.
Our first house was $320,000, which I'm never going to say is a small amount of money, but
in the grand scheme of things,
it was. That's right. It's not $1 million home, so we're able to save and sacrifice and get into that one pretty easily. Yeah. Like I said, we still enjoyed our life. We still done our travels and our trips and, enjoyed all of those finer things that young people do. But, I guess these days it's probably classified rent vesting, but just our location gave us the facility to live in our own home at a cheaper price.
Yeah, okay.
And cheaper than we would have if we had been renting. So
hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? So as you look back on your journey and you kind of connect the dots about how one property then open the door to buy the next one. Leverage is a wonderful thing. Were there any mistakes that you guys reflect upon and say, hey, look, that was kind of worked out well. We've landed on our feet now, but at the time it might have been an error or a mistake or just something that maybe blindsided yourself. And what was your wife's name? Sorry,
Claire.
Yourself and Claire.
Yeah, absolutely. So our first property that we brought when we were 19, there was a structural defect in the northeast corner.
Right.
So we had to underpin that corner to, I guess, stabilise the corner of the home and prevent future movement. So that was a bit of a money pit that we didn't foresee or plan for.
Yeah.
Our first investment property was cross-securitised with our primary place of residence at that time.
Yeah.
Again, or at this time, we didn't know what that meant. So it was just an easy way
and pretty much
to get.
everyone else that has it happen to go, I didn't know that I didn't know that was a problem. I didn't know they even did it either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was a means to an end for us. We wanted money to buy an investment. The bank gave it to us, and it wasn't until a little time later, looking back, that we'd realised what we'd done. But fortunately, we learnt quite soon afterwards, and were able to refinance with a different lender under better conditions, and it was an all round better scenario. But we certainly fell for that one. And then investment property number 2. So our 3 properties at this point were all in a regional location in the Hunter Valley, New South Wales, all within a 15-kilometre radius. And another thing that we didn't realise was that you have a risk portfolio with the lenders.
Yes.
And while ever that's not diversified or in what might be considered blue chip areas, that continues to rise, which makes getting funds harder to get for the next one. So again, it was something that we had to learn after the fact.
Yeah, okay.
So, they're probably the big 3 for us.
Yeah, nice. And so that then, is that the reason why you say, look, we'll move to Brisbane purely from a de-risk strategy and an opportunity in there? What takes you to Brisbane, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. And it sort of migrates or ties in with my commitment to property at a professional development level as well. Was after that second investment property when I'd realised I had a genuine and strong passion for it, but I just didn't seem to be doing it very well. So the next 2 years were spent really self-educating, training, really doing deep dives, reading every book, listening to podcasts like this, going to seminars and seeking mentors and people that could show me the right way.
Yeah, right.
So Brisbane come about after that, learning to diversify, learning the right way to do things, but also our personal or family goals had changed at that time. We'd shifted away from that high yield, heavy focus, and we were able to focus on a growth area. So obviously there's a lot of hype and a lot of hype for the right reasons around Brisbane, and we were able to move in there in 2020 and really capitalise on what's happened since.
Wonderful, mate. Well done. I love hearing the stories, because it's never a perfect journey, right? It's a couple of setbacks, but one thing I see with investors, it's either they be bitter or they get better. And you chose, instead of kind of letting to affect you and your journey, you go, hang on, I'm just going to improve myself, teach myself, educate myself. And there's probably no shortage of information out there. I think there's almost too much information, quite frankly, right? To the point that it conflicts each other. Like, do you buy regional? Do you buy metro? Do you buy unit? Do you buy house? Do you buy brand new? Do you buy existing? Do you buy a fixer-upper, for example? Do you go for depreciation? Do you buy a cash flow, dual income? So as a first-time investor, you're sitting here going, hang on, I just want to buy a property. And it's like, don't buy it in your individual name, buy it through a trust structure and avoid land tax. And like, you're sitting here, for every first-time investor, their head is spinning. I just want to buy a property. Yeah,
it's a highly technical and huge beast. And I guess that learn from mistakes is probably one of my biggest tips to new time or first-time investors is learn from your mistakes, preferably those of others.
Correct.
Is the best way.
And the other part is success leaves clues as well, right?
That's
so people, great investors like yourself, and we've had a chat with numerous great investors, they're all too happy to give their wisdom because they don't want to see other people make the mistakes that they did as well. And we've certainly made mistakes in our own portfolio. And I'm the first one to tell clients, I'm like, you probably don't want to do that because here's what might happen.
Yeah, no, that's it. And I believe if you make a mistake, you 1, admit it, 2, learn from it, and 3, don't repeat it.
Well said.
It's that simple. So
great attitude.
Yeah.
Great attitude. I guess your evolution is now going, hey, look, I've done this for myself. I've built my own portfolio. It's given me the life that I've sought out with my family, for example, and now transition into starting your own buyer's agency. That's an evolution that I'm probably sure you didn't anticipate when you started. For example, that's where you've ended up. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I left school after year 11.
Yeah.
Was lucky enough to gain an electrical apprenticeship, with a local engineering firm. On completion of that, I was scouted by a major OEM and I guess joined them as a technical specialist.
Yeah.
So I spent the next few years doing that, progressed through into supervision and management roles, progressed into, a technology team. So working with big data and creating analytics to provide predictive sort of health opportunities.
Yeah.
So it was quite an interesting and I guess very rewarding career, and probably more than I ever expected to achieve, to be honest, when I left school. So
if you had a good flourishing career, why would you leave it then? It's probably what people are thinking perhaps as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And for me, it was purely about passion and drive. I want to get out of bed in the morning and make a difference, make a change. I've always had a real, I guess, passion and commitment to others and the personal development of others. I've enjoyed bringing junior members through teams and growing them into future business leaders and really high caliber people. And I get quite a kick out of that. And I guess with property being just a genuine passion of mine, I was spending all my weekends, all my nights looking at properties just randomly, even when I was serviceability tapped out, waiting to get that extra bit of money for the next one. I was still looking
just
at property.
At the bit.
That's it. Yeah. So I decided to combine the two: love of passion, love helping people, and look, hopefully I can make a change for even a small number of people in their lives, because property has that ability to really change life.
And that's exactly what I say about property. In my journey, I want property to become an intergenerational wealth tool.
Exactly.
And I think anyone with a family, it's like we often say it's hard. It was hard to buy property in the 70s, probably when our parents were around. It's hard to buy property now. It's only going to get harder.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Future generations.
Yeah, with the kids, I sort of it started out between Claire and I as a very personal thing, substitute our incomes and provide the life that we want. But as I said, our goals are starting to shift, and our purpose in life is starting to shift. And if we can give our kids the advantages that maybe we never had, look, it's a great thing and a legacy that we'd like to leave to our kids for sure.
Yeah, lovely. So take me through a little bit about your buyer's agency model, for example, and the type of clients that you work with. So you're based up in Hunter Valley.
Yes.
So I really appreciate you being here with us today, mate, down in Sydney. And predominantly I'd say that corridor, maybe up the Central Coast up to Newcastle, for example. So that's become a very popular corridor for a lot of Sydney. Maybe people are making a sea change up the coast, but also a lot of investors that have gone there and gone, hang on, there's actually some really good value here as well. So kind of want to talk to the latter, which is the investor side. What has driven a lot of investor demand in that corridor from your experience?
Yeah, so I think there's a few key factors. One, affordability, right? The market has been really heavy in the last 12, 18 months and skyrocketed and pushed a number of people out of the Sydney market. The Central Coast is extremely well located between Sydney and Newcastle, and I consider Newcastle another major economic hub in Australia.
It's a powerhouse, isn't it?
It is an absolute powerhouse. So, affordability one, location's another. Lifestyle's a huge factor. So we got some of the best beaches in Australia.
Oh, mate, I live on the south, so I think we've got some pretty good beaches down there.
Oh, that's it. Water's just a bit colder. But, there's a lot of drivers there, and you can still work in the city. You can have the relaxed lifestyle, go to your coffee shop.
It is the best of both worlds, isn't it?
It is. It's really good. Obviously, the yield and the cash flow is a bit higher out there, the lower buy-in price, so you can get into the market sooner. You can potentially be cash flow positive. You might be able to buy in two markets. You might be able to buy one in the Central Coast and one in the Hunter Valley, or one over in Adelaide, or wherever else you want for the same price that you pick up a single property in Sydney. So, certainly see a lot of investors looking to, I guess, split their eggs, put them in a few different buckets, and or investors that are just able to sneak into that price threshold, I guess.
Yeah, right. Excellent. Yeah. When you're looking at properties, and I guess this is one of the advantages that you have being on the ground, right? Say, for example, I'm here in Sydney and I'm looking to buy towards Newcastle. All I'd be doing is looking purely based on price, for example, and maybe which particular suburbs are the ones that I know of, or the blue chip suburbs potentially in and around Newcastle. But being on the ground, you have probably a very different perspective. Maybe you're seeing an emerging suburb, maybe you're seeing some infrastructure, maybe you're seeing some changes or some small gentrification in some particular areas. So take me through your local knowledge and your insights. How does that translate for someone that's going, say, through a buyer's agent locally as well? Yeah,
so I guess as previously touched on, one of my jobs for the major OEE in a past life was data and analysis, trending and sort of predictive monitoring, that sort of stuff. So I'm still data driven. I know how to work the numbers and I'll always say that numbers never lie, but they're easily
they can tell you the story that you want to hear potentially.
Yeah,
as well,
that's right. They're easily manipulated, and so it's a fine art. But then, like you say, you get on the footpath, you talk to the agents, you're having a look at local businesses, you spend a lot of time on the government websites. Where are they spending? What's future planning? I guess you just grasp that. It's more of a feel, I guess, that is there somewhere where I'd want to live and raise a family and somewhere that many of other Australians want to live. Ultimately, that's the market that drives the property market in Australia is where people want to live, where can they live that's safe, got educational facilities, medical facilities, close to good jobs and employment. So, it's more about that real gut feel. Do I want to live here? Can I see myself living here? Are there new developments coming? Where are they coming? Are they moving roads or building new train lines, etc.? So it's a mix of data analysis and just being on the ground and living and breathing it in the day. And
so you've kind of got. So you're looking at kind of macro. So from the top, these are the macro. Maybe government changes. Maybe there's some infrastructure projects. And then you got to go down to almost a street level, and then you're going down to suburban street level. When you're looking at particular properties, and I ask this of every buyer's agent, you're seeing probably hundreds of properties on a weekly basis. What is your trained eye looking for? What are you saying no to as a firm no? What are you considering then? What potentially do you say yes to, and why?
Yeah. So once you're at the property level and you've gone through all those fundamentals in your locations and all that other wonderful stuff, for me, the first thing is about risk. And risk can be in two categories. So you can have direct risk or indirect risk. Yeah. So direct risk is the property structure, the water management and the water flow of the property. Is there pest issues? Yeah. Is it in a natural disaster zone? Is it likely to be prone to bushfire or flood or otherwise? And then indirect
risk. Which you'd
risk.
almost consider like people should be doing their due diligence on that.
Absolutely.
Right? Which this probably surprises you and I don't know when people don't do it. They love the property and they overlook a lot of those important factors. But that's your first filter then around due diligence, yeah? Yeah,
that's right. And everyone will go and get a standard building and pest inspection, but to me it doesn't mean a lot. As I've learnt my first property, I got a building and pest inspection, didn't avoid me having subsidence, and water for me is huge. Some really key indicators around water movement. If it pools at the property, what are the retaining walls doing? Where's the water flowing to? Right. Is it going to sit?
Why do you pay such high attention or vigilance to water issues perhaps?
Yeah, so it's all about the risk and the potential for that money fall. Water issues do lead to very costly errors. And if you don't manage your water, which it's going to fall out of the sky at one day at every property. So it's a huge potential for me.
Nice.
Trees, root systems, affecting plumbing, what's the age of the property, what's the electrical systems like, and as an electrician by trade, maybe I'll place a little bit too much priority on that. But again, it can be a costly exercise if you get it wrong. So I try and look past the cosmetic things, the things that you can change, and try and really look into the bones of the property and determine the intrinsic value.
So how do you do that? I mean, photos are one part, but how are you then going, like you're trying to look at the invisible potential, and when you look at the bones, like it's almost like an X-ray. How do you do that for a property?
Yeah, exactly. So brickwork's a good giveaway. Cracking in brickwork, and obviously going to have some stress fractures through cement joints and that. But when you see a brick crack straight through the middle, there could be an indication there. Timber, again, cladding, it all sort of gives away a rot. A lot of things that will be picked up in a building inspection report, but they come with large disclaimers that basically say, that get another opinion. Just bouncy floorboards. I don't know.
Because when you say, I don't know, it probably comes to you so naturally that you find it hard to explain. But for me, I'm going through going, I don't know, this looks pretty, the kitchen looks great. I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Yeah,
that's it. Architraves and cornices, paint peeling, it all gives you signs and indication of what's hiding or what's not there. And like you say, it's probably more second nature for me to just walk through a property and look rather than trying to detail what I'm looking at. But there's a number of giveaways there, and I guess there's a few little techniques that you can potentially use to do that as well.
Yeah.
You hear of people rolling balls across floors to see if they're flat, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I typically like to bounce a bouncy ball on tiles. You can hear a very distinctive noise between a well-grouted tile and seated tile to a tile that's got an air pocket under it that's likely to crack.
Right.
You'll regularly see me walking through a house just bouncing a bouncy ball. No one knows why I'm doing it, but that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, it's the quality of the tradesman and the craft, I guess, that can give it away. I guess also just looking at hundreds of properties, you sort of you start to understand the difference between a granite and a stone bench top or a laminate bench top, a $300 tap to a $900 tap. And, it just all starts to add up, and you can start to do a few quick sums in your head. Is this one worth the extra $50,000 to the one next to it?
Yeah, okay.
And is it intrinsic value or is it show value? Is it the styling or is it coming with the property? So you got to either know to look past the styling or lack thereof. 'Cause sometimes you walk into a house that's presented really poorly. Could be the steel, the ugly duckly, and it's quite often one of the best buys. But
lovely, mate. Thanks very much, Matt. I really appreciate your thoughts and insights. I mean, we could definitely go on and on about, I guess, the level of detail and diligence you got when you're looking at properties. That's probably something that if someone wants to reach out to you, have a chat about, we'll put your details in the links as well, and link to your bio and your business. Because I think, like, from when we've had a chat in the past, your specialty is being on the ground and having, I guess, that level of care, buying properties as if you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a cookie cutter. Here's one property that I found, and then on selling it's going, hey, let me take the brief. I know this area particularly well, and that's why I love specialists in corridors, because you know those areas very well.
Yeah, that's it. And I take a real passion about buying into someone's brief and their property. If you come to me and tell me you want this unicorn type property, if I think it's possible, that's the property that we're buying, and I won't let you settle for something else. So
wonderful.
I'll keep on going, and I like to hold myself accountable, and I like to hold other people accountable.
Yeah, and
I really enjoy it when my clients hold me accountable. So
that's the attitude. It's going to take you very far, mate. Thanks very much.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful, Josh. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on for another episode of the Australian Property Investment Podcast. I've been your host, Aaron Christie Dave. If you found this episode helpful and you want to reach out to Josh, his details will be below as well. Love to hear from you if you've got any thoughts or questions. And until next time, take care.